It's Gorman in the morning with Fletcher and Ryder. Now, 92 KQRS.
Hey, the Parkway Theater here in town is bringing a galaxy far, far away to a theater near us. Star Wars Month will kick off, you guessed it, May the 4th, also known as Star Wars Day, with a screening of Rogue One, which is a fantastic installment. Then all the big ones hit the screen in subsequent weeks. A New Hope on May 10th, Empire Strikes Back May 17th, Return of the Jedi May 24th, and The Force Awakens on May 31st.
I loved the original. I thought Empire Strikes Back was even better.
Yep.
I slept through Return of the Jedi, and I've never been back.
What? You slept through Return of the Jedi?
Was that the third one?
Yeah.
With Yoda?
Yeah.
Oh.
With Jabba the Hutt.
With the Ewoks and Jabba.
I was
And
like,
the pit that almost ate Lando Calrissian.
The gold bikini,
Whatever.
dude. Come on.
I was
Yes.
yes. I've never seen a single one of the. That's it. I've seen the first three, and I never went back.
Here's what I would tell you as a lifelong Star Wars fan who I didn't like the original three, the prequel that came later.
Right.
Okay, those were the last three that we just got, last two are skippable. However, The Force Awakens on May 31st, sorry. That was the first of the new trilogy. That one's worth seeing. That one's actually really well done.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
And
That's
Rogue
fair.
One is the story of the stealing of the plans to destroy the Death Star. So it's kind of a tweener, and it's a cool sidebar.
I have to remind myself of what any of these words all mean.
You know.
I missed out, clearly. And I, in fact, not only did I miss out on all the reboots in the 90s and stuff, I was so out of it that it dawned. One day it hit me. I was like, oh, wait, Star Wars, this is like the biggest movie franchise of all time. And I've spent years going, why does anybody care about this? And then I was like, oh, it's like when people say, were the Beatles really that great? And I say, no, they weren't as good as the Bay City Rollers. That's what I sound like when I roll my eyes at Star Wars. So I realized this is a me thing, not a you thing.
You know what, though? Not the biggest anymore.
Because
Marvel Cinematic Universe has
I don't
eclipsed
acknowledge
it.
the existence of any of that garbage.
Oh,
Okay.
my goodness. You're crazy.
I'm a fan of screenplays and human interaction and
There is
drama.
all of that in all of those.
There was more drama than you could ever shake a stick at
Holy
yesterday. Let's
cow.
talk about sports. It's finally happened. Rory McIlroy with the biggest monkey off his back in sporting recent history, I should say. After the last two U.S. Opens alone, I thought Rory was never going to get over at the Masters. This was a guy, for anybody who wasn't paying attention 15 years ago, he was the next Tiger. And boy, yesterday he finally got his green jacket.
The long journey is over. McIlroy has his masterpiece.
Ooh.
It's so good.
11 years he waited to finish that Grand Slam. He's only the sixth golfer ever to win all four majors. Phil Mickelson, thanks for playing. Everybody else you think is great? No, I'm sorry. It's the old guard, first guy since Tiger to do that. This is a man who, since 2014, has been a runner-up in four majors, 21 finishes in the top 10, and good God almighty, to finally get it done. He joins Sarazen, Hogan, Woods, Nicklaus, and Gary Player. That is elite company. I had tears in my eyes, just thrilled to see Rory do that. I never thought it was going to happen.
And I have to thank you.
Well, yeah.
I haven't watched golf in 15 years, and I texted you yesterday, I said, you know what? I'm going to sit down and watch some golf, and I did. And him going to his knees after was fantastic, and the gallery of patrons, because they're patrons.
Like Tiger in 19 and Jack Nicklaus in 86. I put it right there as the three most emotional, cathartic, you got to be kidding me wins that I've ever seen in Masters history. Phenomenal.
I just want to hear more about Jordan Spieth's mud balls.
Of course you do.
I love Jim Nantz, but literally, if he had started talking one more time about Rory's parents sacrificed so much to get him here, I wanted to rip him through my television and bitch slap him. Well, enough! Let him win it before you start crediting his parents. Oh,
I'm sorry, but
me
even
crazy.
The call was a little cheesy for me. He
was
has
too
his
cheesy.
masterpiece.
Too cheesy. It wasn't a masterpiece. It was one of the most up and down roller coaster rounds of all time.
But in a way, it was phenomenal because, what was it, 13? He had a brutal shot. But then he comes back with maybe the shot of the tournament on 15.
Incredible drama.
And then the approach on the playoff.
Incredible drama, but nobody wants to win like that. You want to win with a 4-stroke lead.
Sure.
You want to walk up the 18th just breathing. Yeah. Timberwolves are your sixth seed in the NBA playoffs. They will play the Lakers. That series starts April 19th. They split the season series 2-2. The Minnesota Wild, with a point tomorrow night, will also be in the postseason. There's your Feelin' Minnesota headlines for the day. We want to give a quick shout out to St. Paul, Minnesota.
Oh, good spot.
Come on, St. Paul.
I like
You know
St.
we
Paul.
love you.
Yeah.
Why? How couldn't we? We're a Ray Guy punt away from the line.
I drive through St. Paul to get here.
I'm a big fan of science, and science apparently has finally figured out how to help me and you hear better in loud bars. Hallelujah. Experts have said there are parts of our brain that deal with fine movement and sound, and they're somehow intertwined. If you find yourself in a noisy bar or anywhere where people are talking, there's background noise, and you have a hard time hearing the person you're speaking with, your hearing is such that you have to start reading lips. I've been there for years. If I'm in a noisy bar, if it doesn't have like professional acoustic baffling,
Right.
if it's your average place,
Right.
I'm staring at the person across from me. I'm reading lips as much as I'm hearing often. Apparently, a simple trick can help you hear better when there's a lot of background noise. Try tapping your finger while you're speaking and while others are talking. Just tap your finger on the table. Researchers in France tested people's hearing by having them listen to someone talk, and then they made it a lot harder by adding the background noise. For some reason, they picked out more words in each sentence while tapping their finger. Just take a finger, tap it along to the beat of something playing, or find your own rhythm. But in some way, if your finger is tapping consistently, they believe the way our brains are wired, somehow it just controls the part that controls fine motor functions is intertwined with the part that controls hearing, and it dials in your hearing a little bit more in those situations.
Great. So now I need to be a drummer to go be social at a bar. That's awesome.
You just got to.
Do I have to keep a beat?
You don't. You set your own piece. Set your own pace, baby. Just tap, 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 tap.
Just give it a little tappy.
Moving to a melody or tapping to a rhythm, or you can even do it with your foot. Just as long as something on your body is tapping in your own sense of time.
So it's really more about the rhythm or whatever, right?
I guess so.
Yeah.
They're not really sure why, but the results showed consistently.
Well, I'm going to try it.
I'll be trying.
My hearing, I bet, is as bad or worse than yours. For whatever reason, like
Would you grow up at a gun range? How could yours possibly be worse than mine?
Working in a radio studio for 27 years and having, I did a lot of mixing, like imaging, like all the stuff that you hear in between records.
Okay.
I did a lot of that, and to get it right back, especially in the 90s and 2000s, before we had all the tools we have today, you had to hear it.
Right.
You had to hear the mix, and I would blast it so loud. My left ear particularly, because that was the one that faced the monitors. And then, I went to a fair share of concerts in my life as well. So
my left ear was shot from the age of 10 when I took out a roll of caps for a cap gun, and I smashed it with a hammer.
What?
And I wonder if I hit this with a hammer, if they would all explode. And the answer is yes, they would.
that's not rock and roll.
My left ear rang for 3 days before I finally went to my mom, and I was like, I think something's wrong with my ear.
Do you still have ringing like constant today?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so do I.
I've had it
like
for
a high pitch, all day, every day.
Sure.
Yep. Yeah, it's super fun. I love it.
I will say, and listen, man, I'm not kicking you in the shins, but at least I have an excuse that sounds cool.
Radio doesn't sound cool.
It's not as cool as like, I'm sorry, it was
the drummer.
It was keeping up with all those Marshall stacks. I had to hit harder, and yeah.
Okay, fine. You're cooler.
I often think about the fact that early on but long before it was a career and it was just a glorified hobby, is what my adult friends would say. Back in the days, people left and right and center would say like, "Hey man, start wearing earplugs. If you're going to be playing these clubs, you got to wear earplugs." And my answer was always, "Yeah, why? Are you crazy?" And I look back now and think that was really smart advice.
Yeah, it was really good advice.
That would have been great. I didn't need to hear everything crystal clear as long as it was being. Who am I kidding? I could never wear earplugs. I can't even wear in-ear monitors. I need a loud wedge. I need it cranked up loud.
Really? You don't wear in-ear monitors?
No, there's no air. And they do sound fine now. I tried like 20 years ago for a minute and it was like, I'm too old. Just an old dog, man. I'll fetch, I'll shake your paw, but that's it. I'm not going to return my toys to the basket.
Poor eardrums.
In my 20s, the answer was, no, I'm not wearing earplugs. In fact, I'm going to go stand even closer.
Of course. Of course it was.
Oh, yeah. So same. I did it. I destroyed them myself. I got nobody else to blame but me.
Airline ever lost your luggage? You ever not gotten a suitcase back?
Knock on wood. I've maybe one time had a no, not really. It
always eventually found its way back to you?
Yeah, I've never had to have it, catch up with me in another city or whatever.
I've had it dropped off at the house.
I've had that happen.
Yeah.
I've had a few of those.
I love.
Yeah.
That's like Gaylord Fokker, right? And meet the parents.
If you say so.
Sure.
I will take your word for it. Haven't seen it since I saw it in the theater. And although I'm told by people it's reliably holds up well and still funny.
It does. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm remembering it now.
With the engagement ring.
He's wearing the Speedo because he doesn't have his trunks.
Right.
Yeah. It's all coming back to me. I'm always blown away. Not that airlines lose luggage, but that so much luggage goes unclaimed at airports. So many things go unclaimed.
Know that.
And of course, once it's unclaimed, that means people at the airport can open it up eventually. And we've got a list of some of the weirdest things left behind. Never had a piece of luggage. I've never had a piece of luggage lost by the airline permanently. Never had that happen. No. The longest I went without a return was 3 days. I flew in. I landed in Atlanta where I lived at the time, coming back from Europe, and I was on a Delta flight, and there was no suitcase. And the next day they called and said, we still haven't found your suitcase. And the next day they called and said, we still haven't found your suitcase. And the third day, in the morning, I got a phone call. We've got your suitcase. We're bringing it to your house today. And I said, well, I'm coming back to the airport. I'll pick it up on the way. And I went back on tour, and I got a suitcase filled with dirty clothes and just kept on going. But at least they found it.
Yeah, better than no clothes.
It was much better than no clothes.
The worst spot I ever had was a connecting flight. They screwed up, put the bag on the wrong plane.
Sure.
But they said it'll meet you at your final destination, and it did. That's knock on wood, that's the worst situation.
Oh, no, they get 99% over 99% of the time, they get it back to you. Eventually, you get your stuff. But what blows my mind is the times that they don't make that happen. I don't know what it takes for people to finally give up the ghost and go, well, forget it. I'm just going to quit trying. I mean, I guess that's kind of what it ultimately happens.
Sure.
But here's a thing. A list of things that were found in lost luggage over the past year has been released. Unclaimed Baggage issues its annual found report over just the last year domestically. A freeze-dried chicken foot in a suitcase that was unclaimed. A freeze-dried chicken foot.
That you felt the need to check? I
guess if they're like, well, no one's ever going to pick it up. Let's see what's in here. And then you have a quick vibe of maybe there's a Santeria festival in town.
Or maybe you want to season your soup a little differently.
Could certainly be that. Yeah. How about this? A movie script from an actual script from The Goonies. The Goonies, a movie released in 1985.
Yes.
Somebody was traveling with a script to that film.
I wonder if it was just found last year, though. Yeah. I wonder if it's something that they bought at an auction or a charity event.
Yeah.
And then they just didn't come back and get it.
That's the thing. Some of these are pretty weird. A Turkish ceremonial wedding headdress. I'd go back for it.
I would go back for that, too.
Yeah.
I'd go back for it.
Feels like that's something that you hold on to. How about a preserved rattlesnake in a jar of whiskey?
In the whiskey. That's pretty intense.
Yeah.
That's just a waste of a bottle of whiskey.
I've seen, I've seen jars and bottles of hooch in other countries that have lizards or snakes in them that people sip, and it gets you even more wasted and weird.
Good. That's
how that goes.
Yeah, whiskey doesn't do the job by itself.
A figurine of Santa on a log with a pumpkin. So you got your crossover Halloween Christmas mashup right there. I'd go back for that.
Yeah, that's a relic.
That would be me. Silicone butt pads and then the silicone pregnancy belly. Two of my favorites right there.
Yeah, that. How about a six-string portable pocket guitar? What do you like? I guess you don't go back for that.
Maybe the sad truth is some people, they get to the airport, their bag's lost for a day or two, and then before the airline can find them, maybe these people have expired. I don't know. I just don't leave luggage behind. I wait.
I feel like some of these they were planning on bringing on the plane with them to snack or get drunk on, and then when they found out they had to check them, it was just useless. Maybe they were gonna do the ceremony, the Turkish wedding ceremony, on the plane.
That's a very good point.
And then we're not allowed to bring the headdress with them. That
would have never ever occurred to me. A couple more that I'm very excited and curious by that we'll get to here in just a moment, but. If you've ever lost a bag, you know it's a pretty stressful situation. My kids...
I love it. Lose my luggage all the time. If I'm landing at MSP, I love for them bringing it to the house. Man, I was elated when that happened.
Well, but the problem is it takes you 30 or 45 minutes to go through the process, during which time you would have already been on your own way with the bag, though.
I guess. but I'm getting on the blue line unencumbered. Like, I don't have to carry my bag all the way home.
All right. This is a true story. I had a friend in the 90s, and he didn't travel that much, but when he did go anywhere, if he was going for a few days, he would like UPS all of his stuff ahead of time a week in advance.
No, I love this too.
And I was like, dude, that's way too much thought. He goes, no, I just hate baggage claim. I hate having to wait. I just send it to the hotel I'm going to stay at, and it's there before I even get on the plane. And I'm like, but what if you cancel your trip? He's like, well, I don't care. I don't have to.
Then I'm at home.
Yeah, then I'm still at home. I'm like, wow, that's putting way too much thought into this.
You know what, though? That's kind of a pro hack because you don't have to deal with anything. You just walk on the plane and just carefree. And then boom, like magic, your gear is where you land. You're
putting a lot of confidence in a whole lot of other people. That's all I'm saying.
You're already putting a lot of confidence in other people in the baggage claim, etc.
Yeah, but you're checking it in. You're looking the guy in the eye. I don't know.
And they are a well-oiled machine. Like you said, 99% plus of all the flights ever, bags get to where they're supposed to go.
My craziest story, it wasn't because they lost my bag. I left something behind on a plane. I got off of a flight, and I used to carry around a shoulder bag full of CDs, a CD carrier, which weighed 70 pounds because it had a ton of CDs. But, this was the 90s, and you needed your CDs with you at all times. I got off of this was my flight. I left Amsterdam for London, got into London late at night, and then had an early morning flight back home the next day, but I was going to stay overnight in London. Get off the plane in London. I get to immigration, and I realize, oh my God, I've just walked all this way without my CDs. I turn around, I run way like a mile back to my plane. It's already not there. I get to my gate, and there's no plane. And I'm like, I go all the way back through. I go to the luggage thing. It's KLM Airlines. I say, I left behind I was on this flight. Here was my seat number, overhead compartment. I have a CD bag. And the guy says, okay, well, we'll get it to you by tomorrow. I said, I'm staying overnight, but I'm out of here in the morning, and I'm flying out of the other airport. And the guy said, all right, well, let me know. What hotel will you be at tonight? And hopefully we'll find it for you tonight. And I gave him the information. I walked through customs. I got into a van. I got to my hotel, went to my room, and when I opened my hotel door, my CDs were on my bed waiting for me.
It's a beautiful
KML
thing.
For the win.
Because KLM gave them to a dude on a motorcycle who could get through traffic way faster than a van.
Wow.
They beat me to the room, and I was like, and I said then, that'll never happen again. I'm going to appreciate the hell out of this.
Yes.
So, speaking of unclaimed luggage, though, I do have to mention my two favorite things that were left behind. This is people at airports going, well, no one's going to claim this suitcase. Let's open it up and see what we found.
Yeah.
An antique French book on how to perform exorcisms.
Again, this is found within the last year.
Okay, if it was a modern day manual, I'd be like, huh. But it's an antique book about exorcisms, probably worth some money, and then probably kind of creepy because it was probably printed at a time when people really believed in that.
You think there's a modern day model on how to perform exorcisms?
I bet you could find one. We could find a PDF online and print it off right now.
For sure, 100%.
My favorite, however, left behind in unclaimed luggage, a steel Roman soldier helmet. And honest to God.
How does that get left behind?
How does it get left behind? How does it clear through X-ray?
How does it? Yeah, well, who brings that with them on a plane?
I would think if you find something that's an honest to God Roman centurion's steel helmet, you're not going to leave that suitcase behind.
Replica.
Yes. Don't
Replica
let that
for
thing
sure.
out of your sight.
Maybe
are you going to go defeat the Greeks or whoever was on your agenda to battle?
Damn Spartan.
Hey, Ryder.
Yeah.
I think Steve's holding out on us. I think one of the bags that they had was his. Because there's glow-in-the-dark drumsticks, and you know he rocked those on a nightly basis.
I'm going to pretend you didn't say that.
That sounds like a Blue Man Group type deal. Look for the Smurf.
The 2025 Tee It Up Golf Cart number 3, presented by Club Champion, is on sale now. Golf 7 area courses. Save over $200. Text the word golf to 651-989-ROCK. We've got to... Let's all just get together and feel Minnesota, shall we? We got some headlines. Stick around.
Gorman in the morning. Coming right back. 92 KQRS. Streaming from 92KQRS.com. Gorman in the morning is back. 92 KQRS.
Happy to be with you on a Monday morning. It is April the 14th. Something about April the 15th seems like it matters, but you know what? That's for tomorrow to concern ourselves with.
Yeah.
That's right.
I'm in deep crap right now.
Get your accountant on the phone.
I did
Keep the
yesterday.
feds off your back.
Oh, boy.
It's time. We're feeling Minnesota. Let's move on to some headlines. What's going on in the world, Paul Fletcher?
We just played Paradise City, and it makes me think of this. Construction! Yes, more construction begins this week in a busy area of the South Metro on a project MnDOT predicts will run through the fall of 2026, so it's not really that long.
Damn.
35W and Highway 13 project will stretch from Cliff Road to the 35W split in Burnsville, designed to improve drainage, rebuild bridges, and extend pavement life. The project will include several ramp closures and reduce Highway 13 to just one lane in both directions over 35W starting Wednesday. It's wonderful.
Only for
Paradise
a year
City.
and a half, though.
Just a year and a half. It's fine.
Cool.
Opening arguments begin today in a landmark antitrust trial against Meta, with federal regulators arguing the company monopolized personal social networking services by acquiring smaller rivals with the goal of squashing competition.
Yeah.
The case may potentially result in Meta being forced to divest from a number of key apps, including Instagram and WhatsApp.
No boy.
I mean, think about that. They acquire Instagram and it became bigger than Facebook. So that could be a massive blow.
That certainly could be.
Yeah,
I'm
well,
always going against those Silicon Valley douchebags who made me addicted to my phone. I hope they get their balls handed to them.
Yeah, absolutely. It's their fault.
It is.
The Academy Awards have confirmed the creation of a Best Stunt Design category. The creation of the award comes after the Academy created the Achievement in Casting Award, which will debut next year at the Oscars.
Wow.
Best Stunt Design Award will officially become a part of the Academy Awards in 2028, meaning films released in 2027 will be the first batch eligible for the award.
Okay.
And it's about time on both casting and stunt, I think.
Stunt seems like a no-brainer. Casting, I mean, isn't that? How do you determine best casting? How
do you determine best movie? Like, it's all art. It's all subjective.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But between best movie and best actor performances, it seems like it's already carried over in there. I'm nothing against casting directors. I'm sure you're all wonderful people. I would think the stunt thing is in my mind, like, how has there never been a best stunt Oscar?
It's crazy.
Long overdue for sure.
Yeah, I totally agree. I love this story. The Masters, a tradition unlike any other.
Yes.
But there's another one that's been a staple in Augusta for 30 years, courtesy of John Daly. The beloved golfer has posted up at the Hooters near the course where the tournament takes place. He rents an RV and he parks in their lot. And he's been there since mid-'90s. And it's apparently a very profitable venture because he sells merch while he's there. And ESPN recently visited and came to the conclusion he sold $780,000 worth of merch in 2024.
Holy smokes.
John Daly is like the ultimate enigma.
That's a lot of lung darts.
Fun is probably coming to an end, though, or at least it has a truncated timetable. Hooters has filed for bankruptcy, so it's hard to tell how much longer this tradition, unlike any other, will continue.
He could fund that one. He could call it John Daly's Hooters.
Yes.
You know, John's Daly's Ruth Chris Hooters house or whatever. Some play on that.
I haven't been to one in a million years, but those wings are fantastic.
That's what they tell me.
They're breaded and they're just so fantastic.
I believe I've been to one Hooters in my life, and I don't remember anything about it other than I can't believe I'm at a Hooters.
Yeah.
It's one of those.
Yeah, and the food largely is, I think, just okay, but the wing, I really do like the wings just because they're different. Only because they're different from everybody else.
Let's talk about some. Is that what you got?
That's what I've got. Moving on. Let's go to actual Masters.
Let's talk to sports. The actual Masters went down yesterday. The 89th Masters, as you said, a tradition like no other. 1986, Jack Nicklaus came off the mat at the age of 46 to hold off Greg Norman. He shot a 30 on the back nine. I remember watching that and mind blown. Sure. 2019. Tiger Woods, long after his expiration date, somehow won a Masters. And yesterday, I put it right next to those two for the most viscerally emotional payload delivery system that only the Augusta National can provide.
Yeah.
Rory McIlroy, one of the great all-time golfers, but he had that giant hole in his resume. Came through with a roller coaster round. Bogeys, bogeys, birdies, birdies, double bogey, birdie, birdie. It was an insane ride to finally complete the task at hand.
The long journey is over. McIlroy has his masterpiece.
Whew. The fact that he's in his mid-30s right now is a stark reminder of how great he was early. I mean, at 21, he was winning majors. He was the first guy of this is the next Tiger that people actually thought he kind of is.
For sure.
He started off his career that hot. He's been fantastic ever since, but 11 years in between major wins while waiting to get that Grand Slam. So only 5 golfers until yesterday had won each of the 4 majors in their career. Only 5 ever, and now Rory is number 6. Gene Sarazen, Ben Hogan, Tiger Woods, Jack Nicklaus, and Gary Player. That is incredible company to put himself right alongside. Congrats, Rory. It was the ultimate monkey off of his back, and man, was it emotional. Love to see it. If it had been anybody but Rory competing against Justin Rose in a playoff, the entire place would have been for Justin Rose.
100%.
A fan favorite from day one in his career, but against Rory, it was just too much. And they're good friends. They play Ryder Cup together for years. It was a pretty cool thing to see Justin Rose and Rory there in the playoff hole. As always, an amazing day. NBA playoffs, the Timberwolves are your 6th seed in the West. They will play the Los Angeles Lakers, a team of note, in the first round. By the way, if you're just now tuning in, the Wolves have won 17 of their last 21. Pretty good time to put the pieces together. You were unaware of that.
I was unaware of that.
Your face tells me you hadn't been paying enough attention.
I don't pay much attention at all to the NBA.
Gelling at the time you want to gel. They go up against the Lakers, who now, of course, feature Luka Doncic, the man who eliminated the Wolves last year in the playoffs as a member of the Dallas Mavericks. That series starts the 19th. And the Wild, not yet in the playoffs, but 1 point tomorrow will do it.
Crazy.
Just need a point. Just don't lose, gentlemen. Just do not lose the game, and you are in the postseason.
Get yourself to overtime. They had a pretty amazing win against Vancouver.
They did.
With how desperate they are for points.
Yep.
Think about it. They're down 1-0. They lose Declan Chisholm after already being down Spurgeon and Middleton. 3 solid defensemen gone, and you're down 1-0. Then they make it 2-0. They could have easily thrown in the towel, and they battle back.
They absolutely could have
got
done
that extra
that.
point that they desperately needed.
1 point tomorrow, guys. Let's do it.
Come on now.
Want to give a quick tip of the cap to Roseville, Minnesota. Happy to have you with us. We have a lot of folks in Roseville listening, and we do greatly appreciate that. I mentioned before, I love when about once a year there's always a story about highway signs being hacked. You know, the MnDOT signs, like, hey, buckle up for safety. And then one day you'll be driving by and it'll say, John, or it'll say, like, Jane's a whore, John's a douchebag, or whatever. People type in these things. But check this out. Out in Palo Alto, California, Redwood City, various areas in what we call the Silicon Valley, Menlo Park. This is where Facebook and Google and all these companies are based out there. Somebody has been hacking the crosswalk buttons. You know, you hit your crosswalk, you wait there, and it says cross, or
right.
Or wait. You have these weird voices. But now apparently somebody's gotten in there, and when you press the button, you hear voices that sound a whole lot like not only Elon Musk, but also Mark Zuckerberg, the founder of Facebook, and generally considered to be pretty much a douchebag, which I like this. Here is what apparently Mark Zuckerberg says in Redwood City if you want to cross the street.
Wait. Hi, this is Mark Zuckerberg, but real ones call me the Zuck. You know, it's normal to feel uncomfortable or even violated as we forcefully insert AI into every facet of your conscious experience. And I just want to assure you, you don't need to worry, because there's absolutely nothing you can do to stop it. Anyway, see ya.
Wow. Anyway, see ya.
There's absolutely nothing you can do to stop it. I mean, point taken. That's pretty much true. I said earlier, I blame these guys for making me addicted to my smartphone. It's true. This is not random that the apps just make you keep opening them. I've taken social media off my phone, and man, what a difference that makes.
I remember the day you took Twitter off your phone and it's still off.
Yes, but it's like I'm embarrassed to say, like, because I like to hold. I look at myself like I can't fall for any of those nonsense. No, I'm a worm, and they stuck the hook right in me. I mean, it's what happens, or whatever. The hook went in my mouth, I should say. I bit the worm. Like anybody, you just find yourself. Like you always see you got to stop doom scrolling. And then one day I looked up, I'm like, oh, that's what this is when I just keep looking. Why am I on Threads all of a sudden? How did I even get there? And why am I reading things that people I don't know and never will know? Right. What do I? And then I just took them all off, and suddenly I'm like, books. I got a house full of books. I'm going to keep reading. It's been really nice.
It's crazy how they integrate Threads right into your Instagram and just I'm like,
Bastards.
okay, fine, I'll download it. Fine, I'll down. There was one story I wanted to read. I'm like, fine, I'll get stupid Threads.
Yeah.
And then you inherit a boatload of followers, by the way. It's like...
It's insane. I still will look at on my laptop. I'll open up and I'll check in every now and again. And if I have something I want to post, obviously I do that. But on my phone, I just recognized, and again, embarrassingly so, like, oh, wait, I do way more of this because I don't remember any of it. It's just mindless scrolling while I'm doing any number of things that could be far more enjoyable if I weren't looking at a phone. So it's been pretty nice.
Brain rot.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Brain rot, yeah. That's my 12-year-old coined that.
It's kind of the equivalent of me as a kid just watching reruns of the Brady Bunch every afternoon after school. You know, what was I doing? Why wasn't I out? That's
the new reruns.
I guess. Why wasn't I out swinging on the monkey bars and keeping my core strength up? I don't know. These are the things that occurred to me in a day.
I can't believe at 11 you weren't thinking about your core strength.
I told my son when he was second or third grade and he would rock the monkey bars and he could like do and swing and leap and grab on and do it. And I was watching him one day and I said, you know, if you never stop doing this, if you continue as you grow to rock the monkey bars like this,
you'll be strong.
You will. Believe me, it will help everything you ever want to do in sports. And he was like, okay. And so we had this thing. And then around fourth grade, he went like 2 weeks without doing it. And then he couldn't do it. I'm not kidding. He was like, it was probably like a month. But he's like, it was really hard to do the monkey bars. I stopped doing them. And I was like, just every couple days you got to do them. And then he never got back into it. And he will say to this day, like, man, I never should have quit those monkey bars.
My 8-year-old had the goal when she was like 6 of getting to the splits. Mm-hmm. And she'd just go down with the easiest of ease.
Sure.
She too. She tried it. We're like, hey, Evan, try the splits. Couldn't do it.
Marley,
you got to stay on that stuff.
No, our daughter, Marley, she's basically a, contortionist. She can bend her body into places that, it truly causes me pain to see what she does to her spinal cord. But she got into gymnastics and late at the age of 9. So too late.
Yeah, over the hill.
As that goes. But then from there went into competitive cheer, but she always had this incredible ability. And she can do, push her legs over behind her head and all that crazy stuff. And she can bend over every possible way. Every bone in her body cracks. Like I crack my knuckles, but she does her shoulders, her hips, her knees, her ankles, everything. And like at will, constantly. And she's held on to that. She's in her early 20s now, and she's still very insanely flexible. She went and did a couple of yoga classes, and the instructor was like, get out of here, you weirdo.
Go find your own yoga class.
Yeah, really. You're making me look like a... and a buddy of mine's daughter was a competitive gymnast for years and years, up through high school. Okay. And she was one of those, like, maybe there's a possibility of a national team berth. When she was 13 and 14, she was right on the outside looking in. And just doing gymnastics, I remember the story from school where at the field day competition, they didn't allow her to compete because she could do like literally pull-ups until the guy said stop. They're like everybody in the class gets like 6 pull-ups and she'd be at 71 and they'd be like, okay, that's enough.
Yeah.
Gymnasts are
quit showing off.
Different breed gymnasts there. If Mark Zuckerberg had been involved in sports, if somebody had put him into a gymnastics class or maybe put him on a soccer team, maybe he wouldn't have been the kind of guy who needed to invent a website so he could get up the nerve to talk to girls.
Well, just put him on a team. So he'd learn how to exist with other humans.
Any team. Yeah. Go team, man. I mean, hey, wrestlers, I love you, but sorry, man. Get on the basketball team if you want to learn about people.
Yep.
Yeah, big 100%. Fan of that.
Teaches you how to be a person, too, by the way.
Like we said yesterday, Rory and Justin Rose at the Masters yesterday, they're teammates on the Ryder Cup. And, the Ryder Cup, it's the one time golfers get to be on a team.
Right.
And what do you see every year? Unbridled joy. They're so happy not to be alone anymore. Oh, my God, I have a teammate? This is really weird.
Happy not to be alone anymore.
What a bizarre concept. Team sports?
Yeah.
This might be positive. Go figure. Hey, the KQ Talking text line is 651-989-ROCK. 651-989-ROCK. Curious about your bizarre food combinations. What does it say about you? How weird are you? Let's just get right to it. Weird food combinations. There's one I want to share with you that is quite sincerely turning my stomach. But before I do that, I noticed when I got to Minnesota a few years ago, a lot of pickles. If you can eat, if there's nothing people won't add a pickle to in the state of Minnesota. I was unaware of that till I got here.
Grilled cheese, game on.
Yeah,
Grilled cheese and pickle, let's do it.
That was not new to me. The pickle and peanut butter thing was
peanut
a
butter
shock.
pickle sandwich is the best. My dad grew up on those pretty much.
And I've seen so many places you can add. I had a bite of a peanut butter pickle bacon cheeseburger up in Brainerd a couple years ago, and it was shockingly wonderful. And I thought to myself, I'm not going to order one of these because if I do, I'll eat it the whole thing. And I just wanted one bite to satisfy my curiosity, and it turned out to be pretty great. But there's some odd ones.
You know what my
but
8-year-old likes?
What's that?
You know what my 8-year-old does?
I do not.
It's pickles dipped in applesauce.
Pickles and applesauce.
And she's been eating it since she was 4 or 5 years old. And
the sweet and the tart, if you will.
I don't know.
The yin and yang.
I can't get my head around it. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Daddy, can I have some applesauce and pickles? It's a meal that I think best represents the duality of mankind's nature.
That's exactly what she said, actually.
Yeah,
she was 5.
I can see it.
Yeah.
What about this one? This is one that I had never heard of this until I was probably in my 30s, and that is a piece of American cheese melted on top of a piece of apple pie. You ever had that?
What?
I have not had that, no.
There are people who will put just a straight-up slice of American cheese on apple pie.
No.
And that's a thing that, and it's attributed to, it's a northern thing, more like a northeastern thing.
Okay.
But down south, you'd be like, you can be run out of town for doing such a thing.
Sure.
Bizarre.
Mama spends all that time getting an apple pie just right, and you put a piece of cheese on it. Well, you're going to get a fight. You're looking for a punch to the jaw there, buddy.
Yeah, those are fighting actions.
I've seen olive oil ice cream. Never tried it. Never would. Just certain things I'm not willing to cross up. But there's a lot of these combinations that are that you find them. Sometimes you don't even mean to. You just find yourself, I don't know, stoned as a wiffle ball bat, putting things in your mouth at the same time and recognize, hey, this is pretty darn good.
That's one of the best things go in your mouth is when you're stoned as a wiffle ball bat.
I'm trying to imagine a wiffle ball bat stoned.
This text just came in: peanut butter, cheese, jalapeno, pickles, hot sauce, or cayenne pepper, all rolled up in a tortilla.
Oh, game on.
That's getting it. That's the kind of thing you do when you want to flush out your taste buds. You just want to reset the deck, I think.
Cleanse the palate fully.
How about this from David on the text line? Peanut butter and Miracle Whip sandwiches are surprisingly good.
I've heard that before, yes.
Creamy. I don't know if I can go... Miracle Whip?
That's pretty rough, man. Well, I don't do Miracle Whip or mayonnaise. I'm not a... I will do mayonnaise like inside the chicken salad or egg salad. When you have to put it in something and whip it all up.
Right.
Yep.
Tuna salad a little bit in there. But like just on a sandwich... Putting mayonnaise on a piece of bread, it turns my stomach.
Well,
I can't.
There's a big difference between like homemade from scratch mayo and Miracle Whip, obviously. I mean, they're two different animals.
Okay.
And so I can't like proper mayo and peanut butter.
Who's making mayonnaise at home? Homemade from scratch.
Any decent restaurant's got from scratch mayo.
Oh, I thought okay.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying at home, but I'm just saying.
I mean, I got to buy the jar at the grocery store. I'm definitely not doing made from scratch at home.
No, but I'm just saying that the Miracle Whip tastes different, and I don't know. Like, I guess what my point was is that I could maybe hear peanut butter and like proper mayo.
Yeah,
but peanut butter and Miracle Whip specifically.
How about salted peanuts in a Coke? Big thing down south. You get your Coke, you just pour a bunch of peanuts in there, and then as you're sipping, if you get in your mouth, you crunch them.
All the crap that Coke has added to their sodas over the last few years, many of it, I would say, no, that's awful, and then it ends up being good. I'm not going to doubt your peanuts.
No, it's strong. Jake texted in, my grandmother used to say, apple pie without the cheese is like a kiss without the squeeze. Wow. No idea. See, I'm telling you, man.
Okay, then.
Wow.
Okay, pickle dipped in Kool-Aid. Yeah, pickle with that. If you like pickles, nothing's going to get in the way of that. I actually want to go back. I could see the pickles and applesauce. I could see myself even trying that one day. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
it's kind of appealing to me. I never once put pimento cheese into my mouth until I was in my 30s. It just looked gross to me. And I like cheese.
It does look.
I can see the
pimento cheese spread. I was like, that is the most horrifying thing ever. And the first time I ever had pimento cheese, I had a piece of ham rolled, or pimento cheese with jalapenos, like hot pimento cheese wrapped in a roll of ham, in a piece of ham. I'm sorry, rolled in a slice of ham is what I'm trying to say. And I ate that and thought, oh, my God, just kill me right now. This is the apex of culinary delights.
The first time I tried the pickle roll-up, I mean, at the State Fair, but I tried it way before that. The like beef with cream cheese and pickle, that kind of sounded disgusting to me. And like that was my first foray, probably because that was 25 years ago. First foray into weird combos, but that one works. That one's out. The pickle roll-up at the State Fair is something that
pretty strong.
Yeah, I'm watering right now.
Another text. Grandma put sliced cheddar on banana bread. Grandma, come on, man.
Wow.
Ooh, my grandmother, Gertrude.
That's bizarre.
Matriarch of the Gorman clan, Gertrude, old Gertie over there, all 5'10" of her, large woman in Detroit, Michigan. She would turn up the pickle jar, just suck that juice down like there was no tomorrow, man. When there's no pickles, she would just chug that pickle juice. Yes. And she would always say, like, I never get a cold. And I was like, even at like 6, I was like, I don't know that pickle juice keeps you from getting a cold. I think it's just your general ass-kicking demeanor.
Well, doesn't it have like a crap load of electrolytes or something?
It probably does.
Before Gatorade was Gatorade, everybody had to chug some pickle juice.
Oh, is that true?
I think so.
That's a pretty good one. 651-989-ROCK. Call or text your bizarre food combinations.
92 KQRS.
That is pre-Dave Grohl Nirvana right there. Which, when you think about it, he would have added a little something to the track. I'm just saying. It would have been a little bit more of a catchy something underneath. But Kurt Cobain just churning out nursery rhyme-like songs. Memorable the first time you hear it. You're like, huh, that sounds like I hear that song to this day, and I remember hearing it in 1989 and going, that sounds like an early Beatles tune.
I thought that's what Kurt Cobain said, too.
Did he?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I mean, it's just like, of course they were the biggest band in the world. The guy had hooks for days. Catchy as hell. They just dressed them up in harsh guitars and flannel.
That's what I was just going to say is it's like they get they're seen as this like super degenerate, like, you know, grunge rock. It's pop music is what it is. Just dressed up as something really badass.
Really good pop music.
100%.
But yeah, that was absolutely the thing. We're talking about food, I guess, mashups, if you want to call it. Weird food combinations. 651-989-ROCK. Boy, you guys are weird. We got a million out here. Pickle wrapped in cream cheese and dried beef from the jar. Okay, that's a bit of work. How about this? This all started because there's a restaurant in Charleston, South Carolina that's letting the world know they've got a new item on their menu. The guy that runs the joint said, you know, I realized nobody's got any sort of a dessert oyster on their menu. Let's just pause and think about that. Dessert oysters. Mm-hmm. And that's not a euphemism like, that's not like a Rocky Mountain oyster. No, he means literal oysters in the shell, like seafood for dessert. So he has introduced something. The restaurant's called Fleet Landing. They've introduced smoisters. A smoister is a mashup of an oyster and a s'more.
Oh, this is so messed up.
Like a real oyster.
An oyster on the half shell, topped with Hershey's chocolate, crumbed up graham crackers, and a tiny marshmallow, and then they torch the marshmallow to brown the top of it. Okay. So after you've had a giant seafood dinner, you have a seafood dessert, a smoister. And I think you have to pronounce it like that. Can I have the smoisters?
That checks out. The math is correct on that. I'm trying to just internally like imagine the tastes, the palate stretch of oyster to chocolate.
I've had s'mores and I've thought, man, this is real sweet. And I'm definitely a salty person.
Me too.
So this raw oyster is going to add some of that saltiness to the s'more.
Right.
So I'd give it at least one go.
Give it a go?
Even though it's like a seafood burger or booger, I would definitely.
It's definitely that.
We'll do the one time.
I mean, I'm a fan of oysters. I don't have them often, but when I do, and I enjoy it, and it's about the hot sauce and the other, it's a different thing. It's like the idea of adding the sweet to it. I'm with you, Ryder. I'm a salt guy. I don't go for sweets, generally speaking, all that often. So yeah, this one's just way out of bounds for me.
Yeah,
Not a
I'm wondering
chance.
I wonder if the chocolate and marshmallow and graham crackers cover up all of the other flavors, and you just get the salt. So then you're getting a salty s'more. With a little bit of slime. You
know what I would do if I wanted a salty s'more is I'd make a s'more and I'd just shake some salt on it.
Oh,
I'd just let that one go.
I think I'm with Ryder. I think she actually sold me on it. I think I would try this. I'm not going to Charleston anytime soon to try it, but if somebody here were to put this on the menu, I might give it a try.
You know who lives in Charleston? Your buddy Bill Murray. Maybe, you guys met last week. You had a big moment with Bill.
Yeah, it was like a 3 to 5 minute. We didn't exchange addresses.
He didn't say come down for some Smoisters?
No, he didn't.
Wow.
I was hoping that he would, but he never did.
On the KQ Talking text line, Rose wrote, check this out. My daughter's best friend would always get 2 slices of garlic bread and put a piece of chocolate cake in the middle of it.
Wow.
She ate it all like nothing. 2 pieces of garlic bread surrounding chocolate cake. That's, again, you're looking for the salt and the sweet and the whole business
carbs,
right there.
yeah.
The
but garlic is so much more than just sodium. Like, I don't know about that. And chocolate cake?
I'd give it a go.
Pretty clear.
Is there anything you wouldn't try?
Is there anything I wouldn't try?
Yeah.
Yeah, anything with eggs in it. Or anything that tastes like eggs. Like
You're just trying to save money, or you don't like eggs?
No, I just don't like eggs.
Really?
They smell like freaking sulfur.
It's the first time this has ever come up. You don't eat eggs of any sort ever.
No. No scrambled, no hard-boiled,
Wow.
none of that garbage. Yeah, because it's just the pungent, it's sulfury, and ugh.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, she's got good points. I still love them, but she's got good points.
There's no such thing as too many eggs in a day. No, I like them all. I like poached eggs. I like hard-boiled eggs. I like soft-boiled eggs. I like fried eggs over easy, sunny side up, runny as hell. Just burnt to a crisp. You can't mess up an egg.
You know what we should have done just now? We should have paused the show for 1 second, found a stopwatch, and we should have played the game of how many eggs can you name in 10 seconds. Because you just did. You went on a roll just now. We should have made a game out of it.
One of the great Gorman childhood memories was my brother Jim saying to my brother Dave, if you scramble a dozen eggs and eat it, I'll give you $20. Because Dave was talking about how much he loved scrambled eggs. And Jim said, just scramble up a dozen and wolf them down, and I'll give you $20. And my brother Dave did that. He scrambled a dozen eggs and ate the whole thing. And then, of course, the response from Jim was, I'm not giving you $20. What's wrong with you? And it turned into, it went on for days. The pain. And
you just got so much protein. You don't need $20.
That's exactly what it was. Yeah. Potato chips and s'mores, sweet, salty goodness. I can get behind that.
Yeah, for sure. That's easy.
I'll do anything with a potato. If you got a potato chip, I'm more than halfway home. I am addicted to potato chips. There, I said it. I really don't eat them because I will. The whole bag will be gone. If I open a bag of potato chips, just leave the room and just let me debase myself in private, please, because there's just no stopping it. A lot of things going on in the world. Headlines coming up because we're feeling Minnesota.
Gorman in the morning. Coming right back. 92 KQRS. Streaming from 92KQRS.com. Gorman in the morning is back. 92 KQRS.
Happy Monday morning. It's April the 14th, which I said earlier. Something about this day. Well, is it because tax day is tomorrow? No, it's not that. I just realized this is the anniversary of the Lincoln assassination. Why do I know that? April the 14th, 1865.
Why do you know that?
Well, because I don't know, fan of his work, I guess. And it was a sad day for the Union.
Yeah, he was pretty good.
He preserved the Union. Nice job, Abe. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for playing. He did okay. Right now, there are other things currently of note. We're feeling Minnesota, which is our way of saying it's time for headlines, Paul.
That's right. State legislators want to limit the authority of homeowners associations. They're also known as HOAs, the dreaded bloody HOAs. There is a bipartisan effort underway at the Capitol to curb the power of HOAs due to complaints, including foreclosures because of unpaid fees. That's one of the things they want to change. They want to ban foreclosures for unpaid fees less than $2,500. Yeah. Also want to change standards for rules and regulations, just how much control that they have. Oh, and by the way, 1.5 million Minnesotans live in an HOA.
Wow, that's a lot. I just get hung up on the word bipartisan. It makes me feel good. Hooray! Yeah. It's still possible.
It is. It is possible. You know what? Everybody can hate an HOA. It's easy to get behind that.
Right.
According to the FAA, the New York Helicopter Tours, that's the operator that's responsible for the fatal Hudson River crash, is ceasing operations immediately. The tragic incident on April 10th claimed the lives of all 6 individuals, the family of 5, as well as the pilot. The aircraft lacked flight data or video recorders, complicating the ongoing investigation by the NTSB. In response to the crash, the FAA is reviewing the company's license and safety record and plans to host a helicopter safety panel on April 22nd to discuss broader safety measures. As we said a couple of hours ago, shouldn't that just be an ongoing thing? I mean, shouldn't they have panels constantly about safety?
I would like to think so.
I would like to as well. Just, you know what? Here's the rule of thumb. Just don't get anywhere near a helicopter.
It's how I've been rolling for years. Yesterday at the Masters, Rory McIlroy took the biggest monkey off of a back of a golfer in a very long time, finally getting his Masters win and finally completing the career Grand Slam. He's only the 6th golfer ever to have all 4 major titles.
Good for him.
That is a very impressive feat. He is 11 years in the making, and boy, if you like drama, his back 9 yesterday, birdie, bogey, par, double bogey, bogey, birdie, par, birdie, bogey. I mean, it was a complete roller coaster event. However, on the playoff hole, the 19th hole of the day, it finally dropped for Rory.
The long journey is over. McIlroy has his masterpiece.
An absolutely astoundingly great golfer who got hung up for 11 years in between majors. Last year at the U.S. Open, you probably remember, he missed 2 3-footers in the last 3 holes to lose to DeChambeau. And after that, I thought, that's it. He's shattered. How do you come back from that? He showed us all yesterday how to come back from that. Pretty awesome moment yesterday at Target Field as the Joe Mauer statue was unveiled. An 8-foot-tall bronze depiction of him in full catcher's gear about to gun down a base runner.
Dude, that's big bronze thirst trap right there.
It's badass. As far as statues go, this is as good a one as I've ever seen. A very fitting tribute to Joe Mauer, who Saturday this week will turn 42.
Yep.
It's 42.
Not a bad run.
Yeah, I mean, he gets to be Joe Mauer for like 45 more years. That's great for him. What an awesome dude. Finally, Timberwolves in the playoffs, the 6th seed in the West. They take on the Lakers starting April the 19th in a that first game is going to be in LA as they are the lower seed. There will be 5 games played if necessary. The Wild need 1 point tomorrow, and they are also in the postseason. Let's go, fellas. Get a point for crying out loud.
Just get a point. Just get a point for the love of
That's all it takes. Cambridge, Minnesota, we're thinking of you.
Oh, yeah.
Glad to have people in Cambridge listening to us today. You know what to do with that information, don't you?
Feels good.
Here is an article that says science does say he was the best singer of all time. Freddie's face, the bony structure of his face, which had one more tooth, did not guarantee only the characteristic teeth, but an amplitude above normal and a vocal range of 37 semitones. That is 4 octaves. The survey further analyzed certain songs of his catalog. They concluded that Mercury's vocal cords, quote, simply moved faster than most people.
Those goofy teeth paid off.
I guess they did. The quicker vocal cords. Okay, that doesn't, but okay. So, John Bonham, greatest rock drummer of all time because of all the beer and the bricklaying as a kid, right? Same thing, right? Is that what we're saying?
Yeah,
okay. So here's what I think.
How that works.
Here's what I think. You have plenty of vocalists who are among the greatest that aren't great singers. We just talked about this. I don't remember if we were on or we were off when we talked about this. John Lennon, one of the greats, not a great vocalist. This isn't saying, I think this is just saying that scientifically his voice was perfect because of what he could do.
And it
doesn't mean he's the best. Does it say that?
No, but my point is just simply, and that means that, like, Bob Dylan is living proof. You don't have to be a good singer to be a great singer.
Neil Young too.
It's like I care about character and the artistry and all these other things.
Oh, by the way, Freddie had that too.
That was going to get around to that. The thing that separated him from so-called great. Freddie is not an American Idol. He's not a karaoke guy. He's a genuine artist. Yes. Okay, I'm boring myself with this nonsense.
I just think the thing about Freddie is then when you have other singers who try and do Queen songs, they just don't have the tools that they need to make it sound like how he could make it sound because the vocal cord doesn't move fast and they didn't have the extra teeth and blah blah blah. So that's the point.
It's always a good idea to put your own stamp on things. I guess is the point, because otherwise you will just be completely compared to the original. And again, this whole thing started because a kid at Coachella played Bohemian Rhapsody, had Brian May come up and sit in with him, and this kid Benson Boone sang well and he performed and it was a fine performance. But again, it just comes down to, I'm trying not to be the old man on my porch, but it's like, man, if anything is a ringing endorsement for how great Freddie Mercury was, for how great he was, it's simply listening to another really good singer try to do it.
That's not making you the old man on your porch either, just so you know. because it's just right. It's correct. It's just a fact. You have to listen to the two of them side by side. That's all it takes to go, oh yeah, Freddie was just different than everybody else.
I've had a lot of jobs where this is working at like pizza joints and at a record store where the staff was able to pick the music. It was someone's turn. Okay, you get the next record, you get the next. Well, at the time it was either a CD or a cassette tape. It's like you pick the next, you pick the next.
Right.
So I'm reading this story about bad background music at work. It absolutely can tank employees' moods, and it can all but destroy productivity. If you have a job where you are not in charge of the musical selection and they're playing music all day long, study after study says, oh yeah, it can really get in the way of things. And so I'm sitting here thinking, well, I guess I've had it pretty lucky that I can't really relate to this. And then I remembered, wait a minute, there was that job. There was that job at the Blue Jean distribution warehouse.
That one, they play the elevator music or what?
No, it wasn't elevator music. It was a guy with a radio, and he had it on the country station. And this is at a time in my life when I did not ever want to hear anything to do with country music. And now I look back and realize it was real country. He was listening to Johnny Cash and George Jones and Tanya Tucker and stuff that I hear now and think, man, that's pretty great. But in 1987, young college dropout, want to be in my own rock band Steve, I was like, it was tying me up in knots to hear that crap.
Just the tempo of some of that stuff seems real slow for a warehouse when you're trying to, get S done real fast.
Believe me, it was brutal. But this is apparently bad music is of course subjective, but especially jobs where they're playing upbeat and what they consider customer-friendly music, that can also just gnaw on people and weigh them down. A lot of retail, obviously. You go to, hip clothing boutiques, and you walk in, and it's just, and I can last 30 seconds at most stores with the music, because once it hits me, it's just I might as well just tear off some aluminum foil and shove it into my filled mouth.
It's an immediate trigger too. You walk in and go, oh, it's that kind of a store.
Yeah,
and it's like I turn around and walk out. See you, bye. You don't get my business.
Not obviously working in radio. We're not hopefully suffering from that. But have you ever had a job? Did you have a retail job or a job at a restaurant where they were just playing music all day long that just made you want to jump off a bridge?
I'm super lucky. Every job I've had not radio has been. I worked in like what would you call it? I guess it was a plant or a manufacturing building, but we did like hands-on wiring.
Okay.
And so that it was me and another guy. We got to choose whoever we wanted. And I also worked at like Tires Plus, working on cars, because that was what I was going to do before radio. And that, again, we got to choose whatever the heck I've never had to deal with that situation. But, like radio stations have the office area. And it's not always piped in the state. I think it's idiotic to own a radio station and not pipe in your own stations into the sales areas.
Sure.
But there are that don't have that. And that would drive me crazy.
Ryder, any retail experience with music being piped in that drove you crazy?
I was at Target, and back in the day, it was just kind of the music, but now they're getting all sciencey with that stuff, and I think they have like a curated playlist and all of these things designed to separate you from your money.
And some Targets even separate the music by which department you're in.
Oh, okay.
That's getting real fancy.
That's getting real
fancy.
I took the kid. We were in New York City one time and took the kids to FAO Schwartz, because that's what you do with kids. And boy, that welcome to our world of toys. I mean, 30 seconds in, and I'm just going, okay, babe, I'm going to step outside and you guys shop and go buy some fun toys at the big toy store. But I hear songs like that, and it doesn't take long at all before I do start to feel trapped. If I'm in a place where it's just that kind of sounds and just the idea of, especially around Christmas though, when you're in a store and you just think to yourself, my God, they're just playing this Christmas music on a loop. That must just be devastating.
Imagine working there and it's probably the same 25 songs over and over and over.
As a kid on family trips, there was one very famous Gorman trip to the beach, about a 12-hour drive, as it turned out. And we had for some reason, the radio in the car was on the fritz. It would sort of come and go. It didn't have a strong, this was like in the late 70s, FM radio, but it was just messed up. And so you could never clearly get a station ever, even if you were like in the parking lot. And so we were, for 12 hours, we had 2 8-track tapes in the car.
Which were?
2. Beatles, Abbey Road, Steve Miller, Fly Like an Eagle. That was it.
Oh,
and I mean, you just think to yourself, well, okay, this record's 37 minutes long. This one's 38 minutes long. If we play them both back to back, that's over an hour, whatever the time was. And then you take a break, and then you do them again. And before you know it, you're just the more you get to know the music, the faster it goes. And no, it's the exact opposite. It was like the Baton Death March by the time we got to the beach. We're like, you know, I mean, by the time my mom is barbershop harmonizing to Take the Money and Run and knows every lyric backwards and forwards, you realize, like, this is just going on way too long.
So, have you listened to either of those albums since?
Not, and I don't put them on and listen straight through. No need to. No, they're stamped.
Not even Abbey Road?
It's been a long time.
Which is a killer album.
I've listened. No, I don't ever put Beatles records on because I've heard them so many times. If it's on, I'm thrilled.
Yeah.
It's very rare that I will think to myself, what am I going to play today? And I go and pull out a Beatles record and put it on the turntable or as it may be the streamer or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's not to say I don't love to listen to the Beatles, but you know, it's just how that goes. I will still...
Those two albums has got to be PTSD at this point for you. Yeah, if those come on, it's like...
Well, especially the Steve Miller record, which, again, I liked, but at a certain point, you're just like, I can't. Sorry, Steve. Nice work.
You could go to a craft burger bar. If you do it every day for 2 weeks, that burger's going to get old.
That's very true.
So it doesn't matter how good it is. Like, Abbey Road is brilliant, right? And Steve Miller, but... if it's on that trip, man, everything's got a shelf life.
I find myself oftentimes in crowded rooms, bars, restaurants, anywhere, and I'm having a great conversation, I think. Because I'm missing most of what the person I'm sitting with is telling me. Check this out. Some scientists, some smarty pants dudes in white lab coats in France have been testing people's hearing by having them listen to someone talk, and then they add in more and more background noise. They adjust the settings of the surrounding noises. And for some reason, they found a very simple trick that can help you hear better if there is a lot of background noise. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
Bring it on.
It doesn't say that you don't have to still try to read lips, but simply tap your finger on a surface while you're in these situations. Tapping your finger in time to either the music that's playing in the background or just your own rhythm, whatever your sense of time is. Tap your finger, and it helps your hearing focus in on what you're trying to listen to. This is bizarre as hell to me.
You know what?
Yeah, me too. I'm trying it right now, and I do feel like it's kind of working. Even though I can't actually hear my finger, it must just be the internal clock.
And we were having a conversation off air, and we've had multiple throughout the morning. We often do. I actually tried this earlier and just subtly sat here and did that. And I don't know that there wasn't a lot of ambient noise going on. We have music going in the studio, obviously. Yeah. So I can hear you, but I did find that just tapping it made me focus on you more.
Really?
Which was interesting because I'm like, yeah, you know what? I'm actually paying closer to attention to him. So maybe it helps with ADHD and stuff like that too, where you get distracted as well as the hearing. I don't know if, you know what I mean? If you focus, bring the focus in, maybe your hearing works a little better. I don't know.
You're getting the gist, but also specifically, they're picking out more words in each and every sentence when they're tapping their fingers in this study. And the scientists are like not exactly sure why this is the case. They say it comes down to how our brains are wired. The part of your brain that controls fine motor functions, like, say, tapping your finger, is somehow intertwined with the part that controls hearing. So tapping or moving to a melody can help your brain tune out all that background noise. The next time you can't hear because the music is too loud, tap your foot and see if it helps. Interesting.
I find it fascinating that they have no idea how they stumbled on this, but that they stumbled on it. They found out that it works, but they have no idea how.
Yeah,
it's interesting.
It's you know, like there's always a thing with noise getting in the way of cognitive function. Like when you're parallel parking, oftentimes you're like, turn the radio off.
Yeah.
It's just the first thing you come up with. I
think it's tied into the focus, like what you're focused on, and because I do have a little bit of the ADHD of like, oh, squirrel, you know what I mean, like that. Yeah. And so, but when I was tapping, I found myself more focused on you while you were speaking, and I think there's something there. I mean, I'm not a scientist. But.
Yeah, my daughter was diagnosed. Was the word diagnosed? Yeah, with ADHD when she was probably 9th grade, and we had her tested at a place that specializes in all this, and the doctor sat down with us, and they were like, "This is such an easy diagnosis. She is textbook. This is a fastball down the middle, ADHD." And the doctor was so like happy, like this is. There's no question. Sure. There's no gray area. This is what this is, and this is how we deal with it.
Yeah.
And then we sat there, and she went over how my daughter processed information, how her brain worked and everything. And it was the most interesting and uncomfortable 20 minutes of my life because she was describing my brain, which I had no idea. And I sat there and I actually kind of got emotional. Too. I was like, wait a minute. This is not how everybody's brain works. Yeah. Everything you're saying is exactly how and of course my wife is like, oh my God, this is all making sense now. Because sometimes I guess if you're not any of those things, it can be hard to be around someone who is. And I really am. Hey, what are you going to do?
I feel like I have the same brain as you because I'm the same way.
Man, fascinating stuff. So anyway, tap those fingers, tap those toes. Next time you're somewhere where it's a little louder than you wish it were. And then you're reading. And if it doesn't work, don't tell me because I'm just going to assume this is going to work. I can't wait to try it out myself. No, not on a microphone. Anywhere else.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, sorry. I meant to say that. Don't tap the mic. Tap anywhere else you can get your hands on. Feeling Minnesota, that's our way of saying, hey, what's going on in the world? And you will find out shortly.
Gorman in the morning. Coming right back. 92 KQRS. Streaming from 92KQRS.com. Gorman in the morning is back. 92 KQRS.
Pearl Jam with Jeremy. My son was probably 12 and he discovered Pearl Jam on a streaming app of some sort. Okay. And he walked out of the bathroom one day and he said, call me Jeremy because I just unleashed a lion. And I laughed and said, man, I wish I'd thought of that one. That's pretty good. It is Monday morning. It is April the 14th and we're feeling Minnesota. What is going on in Minnesota and elsewhere, Paul?
Not much feels more Minnesota than construction season. It begins this week in a busy area of the South Metro. 35W and Highway 13 project will stretch from Cliff Road to the 35W split in Burnsville. This is designed to improve drainage, bridges, and pavement life. The project will include several ramp closures and reduce Highway 13 to just one lane in both directions over 35W starting Wednesday. It's a project that MnDOT predicts will run through Fall of 2026.
I said April. Fall of 2026.
April.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's it's a solid run. The construction season is here, my friends.
Go get them, ladies and gentlemen.
That's exciting. One lane each way. Holy moly. Opening arguments begin today in a landmark antitrust trial against Meta, with federal regulators arguing the company monopolized personal social networking services by acquiring smaller rivals with the goal of squashing competition. The case may potentially result in Meta being forced to divest from a number of key apps, including Instagram and WhatsApp. WhatsApp's got like 2.7 billion users across the world, and Instagram's kind of big-ish. So yeah,
did okay.
That could be a bit of a jab to the Meta portfolio is what
I was rocking a little WhatsApp yesterday with a couple of friends from far away, and it's cheaper than texting, I guess. I don't know.
It is.
Europeans love that WhatsApp, so sometimes when I want to talk to people that live over there, that's what I got to go to.
When we started doing international trips the last 3 years, it's the first thing they tell you to download because it is cheaper. Like even just within the group, the travel group, use WhatsApp. So yeah,
that's it.
Sorry, Zuckerberg, you might be losing that one. The Academy Awards have confirmed the creation of a Best Stunt Design Award. The creation of the award. What's that?
I like it.
Yeah, it's long overdue. The creation of the award comes after the Academy created the Achievement in Casting Award, which will debut next year at the Oscars. Stunt Design Award will kick in 2028, which means movies made and released in 2027 will be the first batch to be eligible for the award.
Okay, I'm going to pick a nit. Stunt design, does that trump stunt execution? You could say, we didn't pull it off as well, but the design was amazing.
As long as there's no CGI crap. As long as there's no CGI crap in it, I'm good to go.
Yeah, I want Tom Cruise to actually risk his life. I don't want there to be,
and he generally
CGI.
does.
I know he does, right? He's nuts.
Mr. Hang on the side of a plane and jump a motorcycle over the Snake River Canyon, or that was Evel Knievel, but you get the point.
I love it. They did an interview with Matt Damon, and he talked about sitting down with Tom Cruise, and he said the difference between me and Tom Cruise is that when Tom Cruise has a stunt design person that tells him, or a chief that says, no, Lake can't do that, he gets a new stunt guy.
Yeah.
And where Matt Damon's like, no, you know what? If that guy says not to do it, well, we probably shouldn't do it. Yeah. Tom says, get a new stunt director. The Masters, this is my favorite story of the day. The Masters is a tradition unlike any other, of course, but there's another that's been a staple in Augusta for close to 30 years, courtesy of the beloved John Daly. He's posted up at the Hooters near the course where the tournament takes place since the mid-'90s. He parks an RV in their parking lot, and it's turned out to also be quite profitable, I guess. It's a venture based on how much merch he's been moving. ESPN stopped in. They say Daly has sold last year did $780,000 of merch, and that was in 2024 alone.
That's a lot of merch for John. That's a lot of T-shirts with mullets on.
Dude, what did the Black Crowes do on a tour? Like,
nowhere near it. I mean, we just weren't smoking enough cigarettes, apparently, and giving the people what they wanted. Party in the back, business up front, man. I mean, my God.
Dude, that's mind-boggling.
Yeah,
$780,000.
John Daly, a truly great golfer. I mean, doesn't have the results of a lot of other guys, but Tiger Woods always said the most talented golfer I ever knew, John Daly. Tiger Woods said, if I had his talent, I would have never lost a tournament. I'm here because I'm a grinder. Yeah. John Daly, born, just gifted, touched by the golfing gods, which, of course, explains why the Coors Light and the Marlboro Reds factor in. When you're born with such gifts, you got to handicap yourself.
Yeah, well, and it's got to drive the other golfers crazy because they look at him and go, you know what, man?
Yeah.
I'm up at 5 o'clock in the morning.
That's right.
I'm chipping out, I'm chipping with my 60 degree, 5,000 times before, 6 a.m. Yeah. And here you wake up at 11, grab a box of darts and go fire darts somewhere around par. It's unbelievable.
Spectacular golfer, quite a character. The guy most people would prefer to play around a golf with. You want to go spend 18 holes on a golf course with Tiger Woods? No. Yeah, have fun. It's a cyborg. Give me John Daly any day.
1,000%. That's all I've got. I mean, let's get into actual Masters talk, shall we?
Speaking of golf, Rory McIlroy. I'd play 18 holes of golf with Rory.
He's Irish.
Finally. He's Northern Irish, as my dad would say.
Sorry.
He was, 0 for 38 in his last 38 major tournaments dating back to 2014.
Ouch.
Not just a year ago, but the last 2 U.S. Opens. Devastating heartbreak. I mean, collapses of legendary proportion. And then yesterday... I said this week on the opening round of the Masters, double bogeyed 15 and 17. Yesterday, a double bogey on the backside, a bogey on 18 when he could have clinched. Yeah. I mean, it's a roller coaster ride. In the first playoff hole against Justin Rose, Rory did the deed. Finally got the putt to drop that he needed to win his first green jacket.
The long journey is over. McIlroy has his masterpiece.
It was not a masterpiece. It was anything but a masterpiece.
Yeah.
It was the master's piece of the puzzle, if you want to go. Jim Nantz right there sitting on that line for 4 days hoping he could use it.
I'm sorry, but that's terrible. That's terrible. Especially if he was sitting on it for 4 days.
You know he was. He was waiting for it.
Do better.
Rory McIlroy, now in the history books, as only the 6th man to win the career Grand Slam. He's got all 4 majors. Gene Sarazen, who nobody remembers. Ben Hogan, who nobody remembers. I'm just saying, these guys are before my time, and I'm old.
I remember
Tiger, Jack, and Gary Player, and now Rory McIlroy. That is big time. I mean, that's a Mount Rushmore right there. There's 6 guys on it now. So, Rory, well done getting the monkey off your back. The Twins yesterday unveiled the Joe Mauer statue outside Target Field, an 8-foot-tall Browns depiction of Mauer throwing out a base runner. It's a badass statue.
It is.
We've seen good statues. We've seen bad. Rarely do I go, oh, that's badass. But the Mauer statue delivers, man.
Most of the statues, or I should say the statues, not most of the statues in Twins Plaza are pretty great.
Yeah,
so you had
they are
kind of because Kirby's is great, and
it is.
And then.
Rod Carew.
Thank you. Yes, Rod Carew. Thank you for that. So, you can't throw a piece of junk in there. You got to measure up to the others that are already there. Hell, the big old glove is sweet.
The big old glove is sweet. Yeah. Pretty great to see that, though, because,
so deserving.
Every now and again, I mean, at least once a year, you see a statue unveiled where you're like, there's no way that person is happy with their statue. This one is absolutely badass. The Wild need a point tomorrow night. 1 point in a game tomorrow. That is in the regular season finale against the Ducks, and they are in the postseason. The Timberwolves are in the postseason. They are the 6th seed in a loaded West. They will face off against the 3-seed Los Angeles Lakers, who have LeBron James and Luka Doncic. And boy, it's tough to beat a team with the 2 best players in the series on the other side. I love you, Ant. But I'm sorry, in the postseason, you've got the guy with the most postseason minutes ever played, LeBron James, who still plays like a much younger man. And then you got Luka. It's going to be very, very, very difficult to put together a winning series for the T-Wolves. But that said, hope springs eternal. Ant can pop for 60 anytime. We'll see what happens. The series starts April the 19th.
You could say that it's the team that you don't want to face. You could do that cliche with the T-Wolves.
They're playing a team that doesn't care. I'm sorry. The experience of the Lakers with just LeBron and with Luka, it's going to be tough. Last year they were absolutely that team. Although I will say, hey, look, I'm on the Timberwolves side here. They have won 17 of the last 21. If you're going to put it together, March and April is a good time to put it together, and they have done just that. Forest Lake, what's up? Forest Lake, Minnesota. Glad to have you with us this morning.
Wow. Forest Lake makes me think of my buddy Lucas Coles. He's on the mural in their arena. He was a heck of a hockey player.
No kidding. Ryder, ever been arrested in Forest Lake?
Sadly, no. But it sounds like a bucket list item for me.
I was going to say, so that's the one place she hasn't been arrested.
Seems like something you want to get around to one of these days. Just saying.
They got a McDonald's. I can cause some trouble.
It's Gorman in the morning with Fletcher and Ryder, 92 KQRS.
Minnesota's The Replacements right there. An ode to the great Alex Chilton. He of the band Big Star, a band who made 3 records in the 70s that are all outstanding and nobody cared. Except people who would then go on to start their own bands.
I was just going to say, yeah. One of those, you know what, kind of like The Replacements, where their influence far outreached their mass appeal.
Very much so. I remember hearing about Big Star first from an interview with one of the guys in REM, and then the second time I heard about Big Star was from a guy in The Replacements, and then I went, looks like I better figure out who Big Star was, because that's my 2 bands, and they both like the same band.
Yeah.
Same for me. I heard about Big Star through my band, Pearl Jam. So it's funny how it doesn't matter what circles you're in, they were influencing, probably.
Good stuff rises. The same people listen to these same records and get inspired. And by God, but I remember the day The Replacements put out that album, Pleased to Meet Me, spring of '87. Me and the 3 guys I lived in a house with bought it the day it was released. I didn't buy it. One of the other guys bought it and brought it home. And we sat there and listened start to finish, side A, side B, 4 or maybe 5 times in a row, straight through. None of us, of course, had jobs, clearly, looking back. Actually, I did. I was a doorman, but it was a night job. But we sat there on a beautiful, sunny spring afternoon and listened to that album over and over and over and over. And just like every time was like, The Replacements are getting real legit great at being a rock and roll band now. Horns? Who'd have thunk? Strings? What's happening? Still gets me excited to this day to hear anything from that album.
That album, I don't know, with the saxophone, that just
incredible.
It's probably it. Well, yeah, it's probably my favorite Replacement song.
Luther Dickinson, who I have a band with called Bagmen. We never play. It's really just kind of we just every now and again get together and play.
At least twice.
Well, I know, but we haven't played in a while. Luther's dad, Jim Dickinson, produced that album, Pleased to Meet Me, and Luther plays one of the guitar solos. He was 14.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
What? Very cool.
Yeah, and when your dad's working with The Replacements and they're like, well, we need a kind of a metalish sounding guitar. So we don't know. Hang on, I'll bring my kid in here. 14-year-old Luther plugs in and lets her rip. When I first met Luther, in his own right as a great musician with the North Mississippi All-Stars, all I could think was, you played on Pleased to Meet Me when you were 14. When I was 14, I had acne.
When I was 14, I was playing with Lincoln Logs.
Yeah, pretty much. We were talking earlier, there's a restaurant in Charleston, South Carolina that is offering something they're calling Smoisters. It's just how you got to say it like you're curly. Smoisters.
Yeah.
Smoisters are a s'more oyster combination. It's an oyster dessert.
Crazy.
An actual oyster on the half shell with a s'more on top with a melted melted marshmallow
Mushroom
on
might
top.
make more sense.
It would make more sense. I will try anything generally, but I don't need an oyster with a s'more on top. I'm a fan of oysters. I can deal with the s'more, but I'm not a sweet guy. I don't get excited at the thought of a s'more. But it led us to thinking about weird food combinations. And my, oh my, on the KQ Talk and text line 651-989-ROCK, no shortage of odd combos. I like this one. Peanut butter, cheese, jalapenos, pickles, hot sauce, rolled up in a tortilla.
That is really solid.
I mean,
That
if you're rolling it up in a
sounds
tortilla,
tasty.
you got to have a lot of you got to have your base, and none of those feel like the base. So you got to. I imagine that's a lot of peanut butter. I'm just imagining that to be the case.
Yeah.
Our buddy Tubby wrote, "My dad always grossed us out when he would make supper and include his culinary masterpiece: baked beans mixed with mayonnaise." Oh, that makes my skin crawl. No, don't say yeah.
Creamy baked beans? Let's go.
It's disgusting.
That sounds good.
Baked beans are one of God's perfect creations they are.
I'm with Tubby. I mean, I can still eat them like just by themselves, but that sounds like a cool twist. I like that a lot, actually.
Most stuff is better when you put mayonnaise with it.
No, see, I'm of the exact opposite opinion. What? Don't ruin a good meal by introducing mayonnaise to the table.
Well, like sauces, ketchup and mayonnaise, mustard and mayonnaise.
Baked beans and mayonnaise. Yeah, that sounds good. I like it. Let's get on that.
Brian texted in peanut butter and summer sausage sandwich. Peanut butter and summer sausage.
I mean,
that's you're kicking it right there.
Starting to find out that, like you talked about in Minnesota, it seems like pickles go with everything. Starting to sound that peanut butter goes with everything as well.
Apparently so. My husband slices a banana long ways and puts mayonnaise and walnuts on it, sandwich style. Again with the mayo. It's just a thing. I can never get around to it. We talked about drinking pickle juice. Someone wrote pickle juice is great for cramps.
Yeah.
Accurate.
It's actually
is that accurate?
Yeah.
Diabetes management, digestion, dehydration, probiotics, all kinds of heartburn, all kinds of gut health, all kinds of stuff for the pickle juice.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
I looked that up. Yeah, I looked that up earlier when Ryder said that. And I was like, she was not kidding. Holy moly.
Well, as I said, my grandma Gertrude, I mean, there's a reason she lived as long and as heartily as she did, and that's because she drained every time the last pickle was taken, whatever juice was left went right down the gullet, man.
Chug a lug.
Gertrude had no problem chugging the pickle juice. My favorite of the day from Rose, my daughter's best friend would always get 2 slices of garlic bread and put a piece of chocolate cake smack in the middle of it. Garlic bread and chocolate cake. Good God almighty.
No, I don't think so.
Carb loading for that marathon right there.
I'm telling you what, you sure are. Shoot. Tomorrow on the show, we are going to play a game called WTF. And during that game, we will give away tickets to a show that will be announced today. Did I make that confusing enough? At 11 a.m. this morning, a major concert will be announced.
I know it, but
that's
I'm
all
not
the
obliged
information.
To tell you.
Oh, I'm just keeping. Mum's the word, man.
I get in trouble.
Yeah, damn straight.
Gotta keep quiet.
By the way, this is why people don't tell me things. Then I can't repeat them.
Right.
It's like when my we got a family portrait taken of the kids for my parents' anniversary as a surprise once, and I asked what the picture was for, and no one told me because they knew I couldn't keep a secret.
Right.
And when they had their anniversary and they opened up that picture and I saw it, I was like, oh, I remember that. That's what that was for. Yeah, if you don't want me to blab, don't tell me, because it's not that I can't keep a secret. I just can't keep a secret, if you follow me, if you see what I'm saying.
I understand. KQRS has learned from your past.
Yeah, it's tough. Yeah. It's very tough. But anyway, today at 11, major concert announcement. Tomorrow on this very show, we'll be giving away tickets to see what will be a major concert, which will be announced at 11 a.m. I just want to make sure I got all the details out.
Yes.
You did.
Fair enough.
You did. It's going to be great.
The Monday is up and running, and for the rest of the day, I don't know what you plan to do, but why don't you keep it right here on Minnesota's 92 KQRS, because we're going to play a bunch of badass music, and in fact, Paul Fletcher's going to stick around and usher you through the next few hours of your radio experience.
I take great pride, and I put a lot of pressure on myself to handle your midday from 10 to 3. Fill it with the best possible jams that I can find.
Turning the coal into diamonds, the internal pressure that is Paul Fletcher on Minnesota's 92 KQRS.
Gorman in the morning is also Gorman on the go. Get the 92 KQRS app and stream live or catch the Gorman in the morning podcast anytime. 92 KQRS.